It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back and happy Monday. Guys, we're back to talk about 90 Day Fiance, which is going to be a blast. But before we do, you know how this works. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love. I'm pretty excited because I have a new little seating situation here. It's a stool instead of a chair. So I'm happy. I'm content with it. Have a little bit of pink lighting. My sign finally came, so we have to put it above my head. And yeah, we'll get to all of those things. But in the meantime, we are here and back to talk about 90 Day Fiance and nothing else. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for you guys to call in if you'd like. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And you are more than welcome to. And with that, I say let's jump right in. All right, guys. So first, I want to talk about this couple right here. Guys, Brandon and Julia, this episode was a little intense because Julia feels like she is kind of out of the know when it comes to any of the wedding planning. She goes with Brandon and she's walking around. She sees the church, but he doesn't know anything. She doesn't know anything. At this point, it seems like the only person who does is Brandon's mom. Brandon's mom talks about how many people are going to be there. And when Julia asks Brandon, who's going to be here? Why don't you know Brandon? It didn't seem like he could really put together a proper response. I mean, just to be fair, he's like, I'm doing this for you. I'm marrying you for you. I'm marrying you to make you happy. I'm doing this wedding to make you happy. This isn't my thing. She's like, what are you talking about? You're marrying me to make me happy. What do you mean? He's like, that's exactly what I mean. I'm marrying you to make you happy. I don't think he realizes how kind of ignorant he sounds or how ignorant he's coming off. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. This couple is so interesting to me in the fact that I don't actually know, unlike some of the others like Mike and Natalie and Yara and Jovi. We know what's happening with them, right? We know what the outcome is going to be. But with this particular couple, we don't actually know anything. We don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know where they're going to end up. So we're going to have to kind of just play it by ear, I guess. I want to move on to a different couple, though, because I always spend so much time and energy and attention on Brandon and Julia, but there were a few other couples that kind of had me going a little bit here. Rebecca and Ziad would be one of them. Okay, let me tell you why. Rebecca and Ziad, this is Rebecca. Obviously, Ziad is a charmer. This is Ziad. Rebecca and Ziad have this kind of awkward situation where Rebecca has been married before. She married a Moroccan man. He ended up leaving her, taking advantage of her, going through the K1 process and leaving her high and dry. He obviously came to the United States with ulterior motives, different intentions, and that scarred her. She went through that. She paid for it. This is something that she's experienced, and you can't just take that away from somebody. She felt this hurt. Now, all of a sudden, you have Ziad coming forward and saying, hey, listen, Ramadan is right around the corner. It's 2 weeks away. We either get married or you get out of the house. Okay. I'm going to bring up a caller here any minute, but I just want to point this out. Rebecca is paying for your K1 visa. Okay. She's paying for your food. She's paying for you to do anything that you're doing because you have no money on your own. And now you're going to tell her that she needs to potentially pay for another place or get married to you right away and be locked in without having her proper 90 days to figure out if this is something that she wants or not? I don't think so. Again, guys, I'm about to bring up a caller. If you haven't, hit that like button. Let's see what Chicken Cakes has to say. How are you?
I'm fucking everything.
Oh, okay. I think there was a little bit of an echo there. But again, guys, I'm going to go ahead and drop that link. If you guys want to call in, you're more than welcome. For Rebecca and Ziad, though, I've dropped out. For Rebecca and Ziad, though, I don't really know how this is going to work out in the future. We had Max, the Celeb Talk guy, who, by the way, congratulations on your 100,000 subscribers. That's a huge, huge goal for anybody who is on YouTube. I think that's an amazing, amazing ordeal. Like the fact that, anyways, we'll get to it later. But he hit 100,000 subscribers. So good for you, Max. Max pointed out the fact that Rebecca and Ziad are still together. They got married. So whether they got married before Ramadan or after, I guess at this point, since they are married, people are probably like, what does it matter? Well, this is why it matters. The 90-day program is just that, programmed that way for these people who are entering in these relationships with people from different countries to have this amount of time, X amount of time, in order to explore these relationships and see if this is something that they're serious about. So for Rebecca, she wants that time. I think that's fair. Rebecca wants her time. Let's see if Chicken Cakes is back. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, thank goodness.
All right. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm like hearing an echo. Hang on. Give me a second.
We don't hear an echo.
Oh, do you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, good.
All right.
Oh, sorry about that.
No,
So
it's
this
okay.
episode was crazy. I'm sorry. Who did you
No,
were
I
you
was
last
talking
talking?
I was talking about Rebecca and Ziad and the fact that Ziad is trying to get Rebecca to get married before the 90 days are up, actually only after 2 short weeks.
Yeah. Well,
What do you feel about this? Do you feel like there's like ulterior motives here? Or do you think he's just like, no, listen, this is my religion. This is something that means something to me. So you
right.
have to marry me, or it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I also think that he's really struggling with being here and missing home. So I don't know if that plays a part in it. Certainly, I would assume that, Rebecca or Ziad would have told Rebecca about this, little loophole earlier, or Rebecca would have known about this loophole earlier. So, I mean, yeah, respect his religion, but they're like I don't think he can take it over here.
So are you pretty much saying, and a lot of people said this too, so you wouldn't be the first person. You're kind of just pointing out the fact that had this have been so important to him, then this would have come up in conversation before. It wouldn't just be like, all of a sudden, hey, guess what? In 2 weeks, like you're either out of the house or we're married. Because for her,
right,
she seemed pretty thrown off.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of confusing too, because I know she's been, I guess, I don't know what the religions are between the different similar countries, but it's just surprising that all of a sudden, we've been doing this for years and now, this comes up.
Right.
I think he wants to go home.
And I also think it's fair to the fact that, she's sticking to her guns and she's like, listen, I'm not marrying you. You can't go to my daughter's house because they're moving.
Right.
We don't have the money. I'm not marrying you because I'm sticking to my guns.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I mean, it's just not, it's crazy. I mean, I would say the same thing as Rebecca. At the same time, I'm kind of like, how did you not know this? But at the same time, how do you not see that he's totally off, uncomfortable, and is like beyond homesick? So it could be just another excuse, to go home. I don't know. Yeah.
To go
maybe.
Home. Okay. All right. Well, Chicken Cakes, as I have you on here, go ahead. If you're around or if you have time, stay in the chat. I'll bring you back up for the next couple. And thank you for calling in.
Absolutely. I love it. I'll be here.
All right, guys. I'm going to bring up the next couple, but we also have Kimpire in the room, Andy or Chicken Cakes. We have a few people in here. Actually, Kimpire being one of the newest ones. I don't think we've ever actually got on video together. So this will be fun. But I want to bring up the next couple before we do, because this couple is growing and they're growing on me. It would be Yara and Jovi. Even though this is an awful photo of Yara, I was pressed for time as I was getting ready to do this. I was doing Real Housewives of Atlanta right before, so give me a break. I'm not trying to shade this poor girl. Yara's pregnant in this season. We know that. She's been pregnant before and unfortunately lost the baby. Jovi likes his alcohol, strip clubs, and partying. No one thought this couple was going to last. For us, there was someone who, how do you say this, who leaked what happened, I guess, as viewers, someone leaked the fact that Yara already had a baby registry. She had a baby girl. They got married. We already found all of this out. So it's almost like a Devin and Jihoon situation all over again, except it wasn't Yara and Jovi who actually leaked the information. I didn't think this relationship was going to work out, but watching them navigate this episode and seeing how until Jovi went out for his bachelor party, how good they were going, how good they were doing and how they were sort of progressing, I was into it and I was happy for them. Before I do another all over again, because I'm losing my voice, I'm going to bring up Kempire. That way he can talk and I stop putting my foot in my mouth. Okay.
What's going on, Adam?
How's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Did you watch 90 Day?
I didn't get a chance to watch last night because I was so entrenched with the whole Meghan and Harry situation.
Oh my gosh. We're coming back. We can't talk about it today, but we're coming back tomorrow with Monica from All About the Tea to talk about that. And it's going to be so good. That interview was insane.
It was. It really was. So I didn't get a chance to watch the latest episode, but I have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, let's go. Hey, go down the line. I want to hear them.
Well, Brandon and Julia, the best couple so far for this season. They're the most entertaining and interesting. Rebecca and Ziad. Rebecca's treating these 90 days like most of the couples like it's a 90-day trial. I can't get with that. I think in Ziad's case, I think he thought, oh, I'm going to get there. We're going to get married. He probably wasn't even thinking about, Ramadan interfering with that. He probably didn't think we're going to wait till the last week of the 90 days to get married. Who would think that? So maybe that's why he didn't bring up the whole situation. But I also think that Rebecca is just so immature for a 50-something-year-old woman. Wait, she's not 50 yet. She's 49. But still, I just feel like she's so immature and so insecure. I cringe every time she comes on the television because I'm just like, oh God, what is she going to make a big deal out of right now?
You just pointed out something that I feel like is pretty important to kind of emphasize on is the fact that the people or whoever's coming to the United States of America on a K-1 visa, they might not be anticipating getting married on the last leg of the 90 days. They might think, okay, well, we're already doing this. We're this far into the process. When I get there, like, who knows what the timeline is going to be, but this is what we plan on doing. Regardless, we're getting married. It is what it is. I'm uprooting my life. Whereas the person who is sort of in their home base, again, like Rebecca, she knows I'm here. I have my life here. If this doesn't work out, I will continue to have my life, my family, and my base. I'm not really losing anything except a little bit of money on a K-1 visa in a potential relationship.
A little bit of money? It's a lot of money.
It's like $10,000, right?
Yeah, it's expensive. It's really expensive. But at the same time with Rebecca, you've done this before. Why are you treating Ziad like this is your ex? If you were so insecure about this happening again, you shouldn't have done it again. Try someone within the States.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
She's insecure on so many levels. It's so like, really? I hope when I hit 49, I'm not this insecure.
Well, you're pretty quick to point out the fact that she's insecure. So I wanted to ask you, because there is a couple that I find to be probably the most insecure on this show, and it would be Tariq and Hazel.
Really? I didn't think you would say this couple.
Yes. No. What couple did you think I was going to say?
Natalie and Mike.
Oh no. Trust me, we'll get to them in a minute. But this couple, Tariq and Hazel, I am just taken aback by them because here we have this woman, Hazel, who's coming over from the Philippines. She knows that she can't have the lifestyle that she wants over there in order to be accepted. So coming over to America, she's excited. She has her man. She wants to dabble a little bit. She wants a girlfriend, but she reminds me of so many friends that I had in Los Angeles and especially West Hollywood, friends who felt like they had a good relationship and they met somebody while they were out and about and they wanted to add a third party to their relationship. Now, this has never been something that I've been into because I can barely get along with having one significant other. But, add two, I feel like that would get messy, a polyamorous relationship. And I feel like you have to be so secure.
And she's so insecure.
Yeah, with who you are and with your relationship. This woman is so insecure and she's even testing him. She wanted to see him call Minty.
Mhm.
Yeah, she wanted to see him call Minty to see what their sort of back and forth was, how he smiled, how he interacted with her. She's setting him up indirectly to kind of see what he's up to. And listen, I'm not against it. I'm not against that at all. If I were Hazel, I would be doing the same thing because that's who I am. But I also would not jump into, actually, I'm not going to say that's who I am because I'm not insecure, but I also wouldn't jump into a polyamorous relationship either if that's how I operated. What are your thoughts on this?
Did you see Hazel on 90 Day Bears at all?
No.
Well, there's an interaction between Minty and Hazel. Are they make an appearance on 90 Day Bears all, and Minty pretty much wants to be with Tarek. If being with Tarek means having a relationship with Hazel, she's willing to do it, but she doesn't want to be with Hazel. She accuses Hazel of not being a bisexual woman, even though I think she's probably more lesbian than she is bi. But Minty believes that Hazel isn't bi at all, that she's only doing it because Tarek wants to do it. And Tarek is a dark character too. He's interesting at best.
I mean, his friends exposed him a little bit for the fact that, almost like Jovi, that he has this past where he's over there breaking headboards and meeting different women all the time and doing certain things. And I don't want to get too graphic, but he has a past, right? So you said sort of this like kind of dark history over here. But yeah, you might be onto something because anyone can probably relate to this. As you're dating different people. You meet someone, especially like Tarek, and he has this like big smile. He's a good looking guy. He seems very jolly. And all of a sudden behind the doors, it's like he wants to add X, Y, and Z to the party. And that might not be something that everybody's up for, but this is sort of the skeletons in his closet, except for the fact that he's airing them out on a reality TV show. My concern really isn't with Tarek though, because he still has Minty if anything falls through with Hazel. My question is, a lot of TLC fans feel like Hazel is using this K-1 visa process to her advantage in order to get to America and eventually bring her son over for a better life. And then she'll probably have a girlfriend or a wife in the future. But right now she needs Tarek. What do you think about that?
First of all, I was never really interested in this couple in the very beginning of this season. It's definitely gotten more interesting as it's unfolded. I definitely think Hazel has ulterior, there we go. That's the word. Ulterior motives with Tarek. I do think, as we saw with that phone call with Minty, she had ulterior motives then. So she plots and plans. So it wouldn't shock me that she's using Tarek just as much as Tarek is using her and Hazel. I mean, her and Minty.
Okay. All right.
But even if we talk about dark secrets and dark energy, Andrew and Amira, oof.
That poor girl.
He's scary.
Honestly, I feel so bad for Amira because it seems like she can't catch a break in this season at all. This is the problem that I have. Being around certain filming situations with Bravo and that being kind of my background, I'm seeing a lot of reality TV filmed. So I have this kind of idea of what's happening when we're watching it on TV, but how it was actually produced. And sometimes it makes me overanalyze some of the shows that we watch. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's a pre-produced storyline. This is so contrived. But then there are moments that come on the screen that are so real that you can't help but be like, oh no, that is legit. And watching Amira break down in the car on the way to the airport to Serbia, you could totally tell this is a somewhat broken woman who has literally just experienced one of the worst, most awful situations in her life, right? Being put in this detention center. Mm-hmm. And now she might be doing it again just because this guy is letting her know, listen, you either do it or we don't have a future. I feel really bad for Amira in this.
She's an abused woman.
So even though he's not physically abusing her,
allegedly.
Has there been rumors that he's been abusive?
No, there haven't been rumors, and I'm not going to start them. However, based on that Zoom call that they had with the attorney and the conversation that they had after the Zoom call, anyone that's been in an abusive relationship or has knows history of abuse. There's something very dark about Andrew, and it's scary that he's a preschool teacher. There's definitely abuse. If it's not just emotional, I wouldn't be surprised if Amira came out, and said there was a physical abuse. Allegedly.
Well, and I don't want to go too far into this, and I'll look it up for next week, guys, so I can talk about it properly, and I'm not just throwing things out there. But there has been a lot of back and forth on social media between Amira and Andrew and Andrew's mom. They've called her a few names. They've been very disgusting to Amira, and Amira has just kept her poise. She's kept it together and said, "I'm sorry you feel that way. This is not how I felt about you." Again, we'll have to revisit this when I have all the facts and I have everything in front of me so I know what I'm talking about. But it seems like Amira is a pretty stand-up woman. I think that this is one of those classic cases of she felt like she was going to fall in love and be whisked away and go to America, and everything was going to kind of fall into place because this was her fairy tale ending. Mm-hmm. And listen, most women, they think of their fairy tale ending with a prince at the end, not with the frog. This guy still looks like a frog. I'm not being shady. I don't like it.
No, you're stating a fact. He reminds me of Colty.
I really don't like Andrew. And why I don't like him is, one, because almost sort of in that Big Ed way, like Big Ed knew that he got a reaction after making fun of Rose on 90 Day Fiance, making fun of the breath that she had, making fun of her hairy legs, making fun of things that really I know you're on a reality TV show, but those are conversations he could have had with her off to the side, not on camera, and not really, just embarrassed her. But
have you seen Big Ed on The Single Life?
No,
Big Ed is problematic. Big Ed is problematic.
Yeah, and he lives for it.
Because he's become famous because of it. Everyone loves Big Ed. And I'm like, no, he is a predator.
Well, and Andrew's kind of the same way too, where Andrew is like, he knows he's getting attention right now from 90 Day and he's enjoying the attention. He's soaking it up. But now he's taking to Instagram and to Twitter, and he's copying Big Ed in the sense where people are making fun of him putting memes out there. And if you send him a meme, he'll put it on his Instagram story and be like, yeah, haha, this is funny. But then also he's blasting out Amira and being vicious. So it's like he took a page out of Big Ed's book and he's like, this is what's going to make me famous. The thing is, Big Ed is, the best analogy I could give you is kind of like a character actor, almost like Jonah Hill or somebody like that. Like you get these people who they have a look and they have that certain sort of comedic element to them, even though it's not funny. The fact that he's vertically challenged and he has barely any net, like this for him is an awful situation, but he's made it comedy for his fans and his viewers to play off of it and make fun of him while he monetizes off of them making fun of it. Like, it's almost genius, but kind of sick.
It's definitely sick. If you watch The Single Life, you're like, okay, besides the way that he looks, the things that he says and does to his potential dates, it's very uncomfortable to watch, especially in this era where we're talking about protecting women. It's like 90 Day, like, what are you guys doing?
Like, can you give one example for any of us who haven't been watching?
Say it one more time.
Can you give us one example for, somebody just said Big Ed is a creep, the neck. Oh no, people in the chat are not liking Big Ed. Okay. Cringe.
Big Ed's fan club is not here.
Okay, Big Ed's fan club is not here. But what is one cringeworthy moment that you took away from The Single Life that might push us who haven't been watching to go watch it?
Well, there is a waitress that he enjoys. He takes one of his friends to ask her on camera on a date, and she clearly is uncomfortable with even replying on camera that, no, I'm not interested in him. But I can't think of the specific moments, but there are some really cringeworthy moments with Big Ed in this series. You're like, why? Like, this is very predatory behavior. It's very uncomfortable.
Okay. I mean, I've had a few uncomfortable moments with watching Big Ed, whether he's dressing up for his cameo, his cameo appearances, or he is putting on avocado stuff to his face and raking it with a chip and eating it. Like, he just irks me in this weird way, and Andrew gives me the same vibes I don't want to sit here and bully him or be.
I'm actually more scared of Andrew than I am of Big Ed. To be honest.
Big Ed seems like a harmless kind of like, again,
Predator.
like a little character, no pun intended. He's just like kind of this interesting, odd little character that if you leave him alone, he'll leave you alone. You tell him to like piss off once and he'll go away. Like he'll get the hint and he'll leave you. He'll look sad, but still whatever, and he'll go away. Whereas like Andrew, like you said, there is this sort of alarming, kind of scary. Yeah, he has this people like that. And when I say people like that, I mean people who you watch on TV and they're like, "Oh, babe, how are you?" and this and that. I can read a room. When I walk into it, I 9 times out of 10 can sort of tell based off of somebody's actions or how they're I guess presenting themselves. I can tell what kind of person that usually is. And for him, yeah, he gives me a lot of red flags. He's scary.
Like I saw inklings of it, but last week when I saw that interaction with them on Zoom call, when she sort of called him out, and I think she probably felt safe because they were on camera to call him out. There was something very, very dark of how he tried to flip it back on her and then blame her, saying that she was blaming him for her getting, arrested in Mexico. And she clearly was not blaming him. She was just like, this is something that I went through and you're not addressing it. You just decided to pretty much have a 2-week vacation instead of trying to help me.
Which is even still, I've had this talk with Max, Celeb Talk Guy on here on my channel. That is just so ridiculous to me. And I know that she talked to her best friend and her dad about this. But the fact that this man, one, production already leaked that they tried to get him to go to Mexico City to film like what is going on, what's happening, like you're here trying to get Amira out, but you don't know. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't go to the airport. He wouldn't leave the resort. And then 2, you stay there and you're like, yeah, babe, got these excursions going. It's really great. Wish you were here. Miss you. She misses out on this great Mexico vacation. But then we pan over to you and you're like, I'm not going to disrespect the man's house, but you in front of your house that doubles as a daycare. And
oof, he's uncomfortable to watch. He really is.
It's all over. This guy, we have to watch more because I feel like by the end of this, I'm going to want to eviscerate him, and that's not.
Oh, I'm there.
On my channel. I just keep it clean, and this guy does not make me want to keep it clean. I cannot stand him.
I think there's so much more that we're not going to see on TV that we'll find out after.
I agree with you. On that. But I guess moving forward, there were a few, I think there were Brandon and Julia, Mike and Natalie, Amira and Andrew, Rebecca and Ziad, Yara and Jovi, Stephanie and Ryan. That is our last couple.
Stephanie and Ryan.
Stephanie is a joke.
But is she a joke? Is she a joke? Because I thought that, but then based on some of the things that I've seen off of the show, I don't know. I think there's some validity to some of the things that she's saying about production, what she's saying about Ryan. I mean, she is a nut job. She is. But, there is also validity to some of the things that she's saying. What happened between her and Ryan in this resort, it was uncomfortable to watch because I was like, wait, what is she saying about what happened before he exited and Harris arrived?
Okay, so without completely being disrespectful, you have this woman here who's very, she's financially well off, business savvy. She's pretty much sound in those departments, right? But then she has this relationship with her fiance that's 20-something years old, Ryan, and she lacks in the love department. She's insinuating that this guy cheats on her, wanting to check his phone the whole time, pointing fingers the whole time that they're together, and trying to figure out what's going on when she's not there. And then boom, all of a sudden there's a fight that breaks out. They end up leaving each other. She says she's calling it off. And the first thing she does is call his cousin Harris to invite him over, not only to invite him over, to stay for a few days, to hook up.
Harris was coming. He took 4-hour bus ride and a 2-hour boat ride. That's a long way to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. To come stay with her. And then she's going to sit there and kind of grill him. Okay, well, you've been on and off with your girlfriend for quite some time. What is that about? It's like, girl, you just broke up with your fiance. What is that about? Like, what?
But based on what I've heard, and I don't want any spoilers. However,
No, we love spoilers.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So based on what I've heard, they were already broken up, but production made them sit there and have that dinner, her and Ryan. So during that whole time we were seeing them trying to act like they're in a relationship, they had already broken up. This is what I'm hearing. I even got pictures of people that were on vacation during the time that Ryan and Stephanie were filming there.
So you think that from what you're kind of saying right now, they could have potentially have already broken up. Harris might have already been on his way. And then production was like, look, babe, we get it. You're around her, but you want your cut of the check. You need to film. We need it for the continuity of the show.
Did you hear though, that one of the days she couldn't film because of sandflies, she got bitten up so bad? I did a whole deep dive on sandflies because I was like, what are sandflies and why are they so bad? I hear that they're worse than mosquitoes. No,
they actually really are. We have them in South Florida. They're really bad. Sandflies, we call them here sand fleas, but they're like, it's same thing. Yeah, they're terrible. And sometimes you sit there and you're resting on the beach and you think that you're good. You wake up and you're like, shit. But for her, I want to point out something else real quick that you said, and it's fair, right? You said some of the things that she pointed out, especially, Stephanie pointing out about production. Some of those things could be true. Like she did say production messed with her mental health. Production made her do things that she wasn't comfortable with. And Yara and Jovi, there have been many TLC cast members who have come out and said this. This is not news to anybody, right? Mm-hmm. They have a TV show to film, and the TV show is based around two people who are in a relationship being vulnerable about that relationship and the goods and the bads of it. Mm-hmm. Okay. But the things that, don't necessarily make sense that she said is, one, she said TLC and the producers were really hard on her and liked to film her when her eye, she said later at night, her eye gives her problems. So her eyes start to kind of droop and she looks more tired, but it's just a lighting issue. Okay, girl, I've been on vacation too, and that's called vodka, tequila, wine, whatever you want to call it, but just own it. You're on vacation.
There were a few moments with Stephanie that I don't know if it was just alcohol, but there was a lot going on in that regard. And I wish she would sort of own some of that, but.
And listen, it's yours to, hey, it's yours to own. If you don't want to own it, don't own it. But don't also treat 1 million plus viewers, people who are watching, who have brothers, sisters, best friends, people who suffer from different substance abuses, and not even saying she abuses any sort of substances. I'm not leading to that. Yeah. But we even have housewives on Bravo who take depression or anti-anxiety medicine, and then they drink, and then all of a sudden they go off the wire. There's something not, Jen Shaw on Salt Lake City. But for her, exactly. But for Stephanie, it's like you just said, there are moments like, okay, girl, you got to own this, because you're not just like perfectly fine when we see you filming at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then all of a sudden at 6 o'clock, that droopy eye kicked in and your slurs kicked in where you can't hold a cover. No, that is not a medical condition. It's like, you got two phones. It's a happy hour condition. It's a wine buying bad habit is what it feels like.
But you know what? TLC gets what they cast. You cast a nutty person, you're going to get nutty behavior.
That's true. And, I've had a lot of people come on here to this day, and I want to ask you this to sort of kind of start to end off this recap, only because I'm curious of your thoughts and I love your opinion. And by the way, hey, thanks for joining me today. This has been fun. It's great talking to you.
You too. I love this.
Yeah, I see you all the time on Instagram and on YouTube. I saw you on my last video, and I always see you popping up. So, hey.
I'm watching. I'm like creeping.
We'll keep you around. But, 90 Day Fiance, a lot of fans have spoken out and said that they don't necessarily love some of these quirky personalities that are so over the top, because when they first started watching the show, some of the original watchers, they said that 90 Day Fiance was just that. It was about following these authentic relationships that were trying to navigate the K-1 visa process Or maybe it was the other way, like 90 Day Fiance the other way. Maybe it was that, but just real love, real relationships. And then we started over time getting couples like Brittany and Yazin. We knew that was a fake relationship.
Whew.
You know, like there have been some relationships where they're just seriously in question. People were saying Devin and Jihoon were a fake relationship. I'm like, listen, she's not going to get pregnant and have she's not going to go that far for the $40,000 check. But I don't think it was an inauthentic relationship. I just think that, Devin came forward and she said, this is not my storyline. Producers made me say this. I know that I'm breaking my NDA, but I don't care. I never want to work with TLC again. And it's like, oh shit, it wakes you up.
I mean, reality TV is not what it used to be. It's not like when The Real World premiered. You know what I mean? Reality TV has gotten more and more less real over the years, and it continues to be that. And I think a lot of us that are watching it kind of know that. A lot of fans don't know that because the way that they react. But look, they do have a show that is progressively getting in this way that it's uncomfortable to watch. As I said to you before with Big Ed and Andrew, it's becoming a little problematic and a little scary. And I think they're also putting themselves in a position of a liability, which isn't great. But I still believe they know what they're doing, because at the beginning of the season, I was like, oh, I don't know if they have a season. But some of the people that I didn't think I would be interested in the beginning, I'm a little bit more interested in. I'm like, what's really happening here? Like with Andrew and Amira, or a Stephanie and Orion, what's the other couple that I wasn't that interested in the beginning? I can't even remember.
Yara and Jovi?
No, I was sort of interested in them
Mike and Natalie?
in the beginning. Say it more than?
Mike and Natalie?
No, Rebecca and Ziad.
I wasn't interested in Tariq and Hazel, but no. Linda Anderson said, trust me. Linda Anderson said, once people knew they could be famous, the show wasn't real anymore. Honestly, we have it in different categories of reality TV across the board. Most of the time, guys, I do Bravo recaps, but a lot of our housewives, a lot of our Bravo celebrities, let's just call them that, they watch these shows, and now the shows have been around for so long. So for example, we just got Salt Lake City housewives for their first season. You can totally tell that half of that cast came on to the show knowing what sort of character they wanted to be portrayed as. Like, you want to be do you want to be the aggressive one, the dumb one, the one that has it all together, the one that's very stoic and poised? Which one do you want to be? And I feel like they kind of gravitate, they pick that identity and gravitate towards it, and they're like, okay, filming, let's go. Whereas, like you said, when they started The Real World and some of these other reality shows at the very beginning, it was just kind of everybody just be your most authentic selves in a room. We're going to put these personalities in a room. Cameras are here. Pretend like we're not here and go. But now it's like producers will walk up and interrupt filming and be like, we just need you to say one more time. We need you to ask them about how their boyfriend is doing one more time. And we need you to really make it sound like you care. And it's like, okay, well, that's not real.
That's part of the reason why I fell in love with Below Deck, because even though I'm sure there's a lot of that happening with it, however, you still have to have a skill set to be on that sort of show.
Yeah.
So that to me got me a little bit more excited about reality TV. But yeah, reality TV is not what it originally was.
No, I mean, honestly, I think over time it's definitely evolved, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get worse and worse, and that we end up totally losing it altogether, because I feel like that would be just terrible, only because I'm a huge fan of reality TV, and that's why I do my recap. So I just don't want to.
I don't think reality TV is going anywhere anytime soon, but there definitely needs to be a shakeup on how it's done.
I agree with you on that. I think that eventually, for example, again, I know that I do Bravo, guys. Again, I know, but Real Housewives of Miami, they're coming back, and they're coming back to Peacock. Yep. I think that's going to be such a good way to do it, because the production value behind Peacock is going to look very different than Bravo. Now we're mixing it up a little bit. And even over time, we've talked about this a few times, but over time on some of these shows, I always reference Bravo, but like Housewives, now they're breaking the fourth walls. They're saying bravo, bravo, bravo. We're watching production ask questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're watching production actually ask
and that's what I mean about changing the way that they do it, because now that they're breaking that fourth wall, fourth wall, we're getting a little bit more real. We're getting a little bit more the actual reality that we want. And it's been refreshing to see it in some of these cities. But with 90 Day Fiance, like you said, I feel like they really are leaning more into the weird aspect of everything and creating all of these interesting spinoffs. Because like I said, 90 Day Single Life is interesting. 90 Day Bears All is very interesting to kind of see this other side of things. Because I'm glued to it. But there are some problematic people on there. And in this age where we're trying to be politically correct and, doing better than we've done in the past, I feel like 90 Day is not trying to do that. They're leaning into the drama. They're leaning into this whole narrative of crazy.
Well, last season I was almost done with 90 Day Fiance, the Brittany and Yazin season, and it was really hard. Exactly. I mean, that's my same reaction. It was really hard for me to watch because it just seemed so fake. Whereas like this season, you see that babies are being made, you see real authentic relationships, and then you see questionable ones, but at least we have some of those real ones to carry us through the season, surprisingly. Yeah. I'm going to hold on to that and hope that with time, casting evolves too. That way they can beat this sort of like, I feel like right now we're racing as viewers, casting to kind of pick apart what the storyline and the production is before they do. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good thing. Like I want to be surprised by every single thing that happens on the show. And we don't really have that element of surprise anymore. So hopefully TLC, get your together. And
Brittany's also on Single Life.
Like watching freaking Brittany. I actually saw Brittany, by the way. I saw Brittany 2 weeks ago. I was in Delray Beach. It's like 30 minutes outside of Palm Beach, and she lives like 25 minutes away from me over here.
I'll run very far.
I saw her walking down the street. She was having a coffee thing. She was sitting down having a coffee, and I walked past. And sometimes, like especially when I lived in LA, if I would see people who I didn't know, I never really fangirled or anything, but sometimes I'd be like, well, maybe I can go try to get an interview or do something. When I saw Brittany, I was like, like I don't even want that interview. I'm like, I don't want your pre-produced. Like, I don't want that. I don't want anything from Brittany.
And she would charge you.
Yeah, but good luck, Brittany. You know who tried to charge me before we end this off? Do you remember baby girl Lisa?
Yes.
Do you remember who was Soulja Boy?
Yes.
Yes. Soulja Boy had me waiting one time, and I've never said this on here, but I had an interview with Soulja Boy. He asked me for $1,000 for the interview. And I said, no, I don't pay for my interviews. And then after that, him and Lisa got canceled because she came out and said a lot of vulgar stuff. So TLC pretty much fired them, put them off to the wayside. And then his manager came back and said, you know what, we'll do the interview. And I was like,
sure.
I was like,
a little light.
So he didn't know that his manager said that.
I see that all the time.
Yeah. So then I'm sitting there waiting. The manager set us up for an interview. I'm sitting there waiting. I kicked everybody out of my house. I had family visiting from Florida to Los Angeles. I kicked everyone out, just sort of like, guys, I need quiet. Sat there for 30 minutes, finally emailed them. And I was like, hey, guys. And he goes, I don't know why my manager said this. This is ridiculous. I'll fire him. If you want me to come on, I'm available now, but you need to send me the $1,000. And I was like, dude, you're canceled. You are canceled. Soulja Boy in the United States already exists. We have a Soulja Boy. We have Soulja Boy. We're not going to remember you. You're canceled.
Like the one that we have.
Yeah, and you talk about having sex with this woman who is. Some people might look at her and be like, listen, this beautiful, sweet-hearted woman, baby girl Lisa. I look at her and I think sort of like kind of very intimidating, sort of off-putting.
I think she really tried to come on that show trying to be the next Angela, and she just was not as charismatic.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And Angela has carried it through over the seasons. And Angela also, again, it was like Lisa was trying to portray a character that she saw, whereas Angela is unapologetically that character.
And
you know what I mean?
hilarious.
Angela is like, you know, I love, like, she has that compassionate side, but then she has the side where it's like you cross her and she's like, what? And it's this whole new level of a situation. And then she, you know, but that is her. And I think that Lisa saw that work for her. So she tried to do the same thing, but she just took it to a whole another level of nasty with some of her derogatory language and slurs. And, you know, she obviously lost her place on the show, which is her bad, because had she not have done that, she'd be on Discovery Plus. She'd be getting cut a check. She would be on top of, not on top of the world right now, but she'd be getting paid.
At least collecting something.
Yeah, she'd be getting something. So sorry, Lisa. And also, just to be fair, Lisa, you weren't very nice to me either on the Instagram message that you sent to me when you were ripping my head off. Just to say that. Okay. Anyways. Yeah.
I love all this tea.
Yeah. You want to talk about some tea? I'll spill the whole kettle here. But
what did she say in the Instagram message?
She just wasn't happy because I did an interview with her boyfriend that she allegedly left Soulja Boy for. For some reason, it was one of my first interviews. It was back in June. I'm totally blanking on the name right now because it was like the guy. Nobody actually knew who the guy was, and then his name got leaked. And then all of a sudden, I found him on Instagram, and I asked him if he would do an interview. And he talked about his relationship with Lisa and how they've talked a lot over the years. They never stopped talking, supposedly when she was dating other people. And he was just kind of giving us all of that. And then as soon as I put the interview up, it was like, you mother. And I was like, sorry. And I didn't know she was actually going to message or respond to me. And yes, that's one of 2 times I've ever actually been messaged by somebody who has been on the screen, letting me know, like, you better fix this, get it together before I come for you. But little does she know, I'm from Florida. I don't care. You can come for me.
So who was the other person?
I made amends with that person, so I would rather not say.
Oh, okay.
I'll keep it together.
You dropped enough tea.
Yeah, Natalie said we are here for the tea. All right, Natalie, thank you for the super chat, guys. Over 225 in the room. Go ahead, hit that like button. Kimpire at the Kimpire. He's not just on here for the first time ever, which we appreciate, but I've seen his Instagram, and I believe you're on YouTube as well, right?
I have 2 YouTube channels. One is Kimpire Radio, and the other is Kimpire Daily.
Okay, so real quick before we go, I wanted to thank you for kind of getting through this recap with me. I appreciate that. It's always easier to do it with somebody else. Guys, if you were in the room, the chat, and I didn't make it to you yet, I promise just call in later this week. We have so many videos coming up. I'm going to include you. Can you tell us where we can find you on all of your platforms? And then I'll add them in the description of this video too, just since you joined us, and I want people to be able to locate you.
All of my social media is the Kimpire. If you put in Kimpire, I'm probably going to come up. On YouTube, it's Kimpire Daily and Kimpire Radio. Kimpire Radio is my podcast. So you'll see interviews that I've done on Kimpire Radio, including people like Brandy, Melanie Fiona, Oprah Winfrey, people like that.
Interviews?
Interviews.
You've interviewed Oprah Winfrey?
Yep.
Excuse
she called
me?
into my radio station at the time.
That's iconic.
It was an iconic moment.
Wow. We have to pick your brain. We don't even know who we have on here who we're talking to. Give us your resume. We didn't even know. Holy cow. Guys, go follow at the Kimpire. Again, I'm going to put it in the description of this video. It just reminds you, you don't know who you're talking to, so don't sleep on anybody, guys. Be awake and look out. And always just go support people. And thank you for my mods in here. Guys, also a few other people. Dear Dana, go follow Dana on her channel. Dear Dana. We also have Shannon Ben. Thank you for modding. Jason's in the other room. That being said, I'm going to jump off here. We have a few other videos to make. I dropped the link for Jason's new YouTube channel, Down with Jason, who's it's like a sister channel playing off of mine, Up with Adam, obviously, in my community tab. So go check that out. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. And thank you so much, Kimpire. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. And thanks for watching. Bye, guys.